Good evening. It's Tuesday, January the 18th. We want to get you caught up on the biggest stories of the day so far.
And we begin this evening with the rollout of 5G technology near major U.S. airports. It's being delayed, and it comes after airlines warned of catastrophic disruption to air travel all over the country, including here in Atlanta. Our Mary Smith has the latest.
Battle between the airlines and major cell phone providers. AT&T and Verizon are set to roll out their new 5G tomorrow, and there are concerns that it could interrupt operations, impacting you, the traveler. A last-minute decision by AT&T and Verizon to delay the rollout of 5G service near some airports. Airline executives, including Delta's Ed Bastian, sent a letter Monday warning the technology could interfere with planes' landing instruments.
When it comes to safety, there's no calendar. You get it done right, or you don't do it.
The airlines also warned this could have forced thousands of flights to be canceled or delayed.
The FAA lists 17 systems that could be affected, and it says the pilot may not catch those errors in time to maintain safe flight and landing.
The FAA is studying the potential impacts. In fact, Wednesday's rollout had already been pushed back 2 weeks to avoid any disruptions to air travel.
Who wants to be unsafe? Not I.
I hope that there's no disruptions in the flights or the patterns, and I really hope that the technology has advanced enough that it works cohesively.
Several international airlines canceled flights Wednesday because of the concern.
A lot of the airlines are concerned about that 5G coming online because of their radar altimeters operating on the aircrafts that operate up at about 4.2 gigahertz. So in theory, this new 5G really shouldn't interfere with these aircrafts because there's quite a bit of spectrum that separates the equipment between the 5G equipment and the aircraft altimeters.
William Lawton, principal research engineer at Georgia Tech, says this new frequency can operate in larger bandwidths. Essentially, it's a faster version of 5G.
But there's concern that maybe there's aircraft operating older, maybe even malfunctioning altimeters, and they may not be operating in the frequencies that they were designed to operate in.
And a spokesperson with Hartsfield-Jackson says for now the airport operations will not be affected by this, but they are keeping an eye on things. We're live from the airport tonight. I'm Mary Smith, CBS 46 News.
We have an update right now only on CBS 46. An incredibly close call for a Buckhead family. A man survives after being pinned by a tree that nearly split a home in two during this weekend's winter storm. CBS 46's Adam Murphy live in Buckhead tonight with this shocking story. Adam.
Well, good evening. The homeowner told me in an exclusive interview that she has some friends living in a guest house here in her home in Buckhead, where that blue tarp is now, and a tree fell on it early Monday morning. And I want to show you this direction. Look at all of the debris that the tree took out from that guest house. It's everywhere. Clearly a lot of work left to be done to clean up. Beneath all the debris and rubble, there's a story about the miracle on Old Ivy.
My friend who's in the hospital keeps telling me it's not your fault.
The Buckhead homeowner said a family of three was living in her guest house when a large oak tree fell on top of it early Monday morning during the winter storm.
I have friends staying with me, and fortunately the baby and his wife were in one room, and unfortunately the husband was in the other.
The tree sliced part of the home in two, shaking the foundation like an earthquake and injuring the father in the guest house.
Within maybe an hour and a half, the firefighters were here. They got hydraulics and they pushed the tree off him and were able to get him in the ambulance.
On Tuesday, all tree services cleaned up thousands of pounds of debris. The tree service said the large oak was healthy, but simply uprooted due to high winds and saturation.
It's not always that the tree's unhealthy if it just catches the wind and the ground is saturated enough. Obviously they can come over.
Workers also put a tarp over the area of the home that was damaged until repairs can be made.
I definitely think God was looking out for somebody that night. The tree came right down on top of the person, and where that room was at is gone.
Everyone is fine now. And he's getting treated well, and we expect a full recovery.
And the homeowner told me that that man that is recovering sustained some broken bones but will recover. And look at the car here. This is the homeowner's car that was parked in the garage just underneath that guest house. Quite a bit of damage here to the back of that car as well. So everybody here just counting their blessings this evening. We're live in Buckhead. Adam Murphy, CBS 46 News.
Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, says nearly 6,000 guns were found at checkpoints nationwide, and that is a new record. And once again, Hartsfield-Jackson was at the top of the list with 507 detected. CBS 46's Trayson Bragg shows us the growing problem.
Pretty much everyone in the metro remembers this scene, the day last November when a gun fired inside Hartsfield-Jackson, creating a stampede of passengers. Investigators later revealed Kenny Wells, a convicted felon, lunged for his gun after it was detected at the main TSA checkpoint, causing it to fire.
That illustrates why loaded weapons are so dangerous, because it's very easy to discharge those weapons.
Trying to move a gun, especially if it's loaded through a TSA checkpoint, may seem like an unbelievable mistake, but it turns out it's also a growing mistake. The TSA says last year, a record nearly 6,000 firearms were discovered at TSA checkpoints nationwide. That demolished a previous record by almost 1,500.
About 86% of those firearms are loaded, and that presents a significant both safety and security concern.
And guess what? Last year, more firearms were intercepted at TSA checkpoints inside Hartsfield-Jackson than any other airport in the country. 507 to be exact, up from 323 in 2019, making us #1 on the list. Rounding out the top 5 are Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, and Nashville. The National Shooting Sports Federation says gun sales are up nationwide. In 2020, over 8.4 million people bought a gun for the first time.
Reflect just more people carrying weapons in the country.
The only way a firearm is allowed on a plane is safely and securely as checked luggage, not a carry-on. Attempting to break that regulation will cost you.
That if you do have a weapon and it's detected in the checkpoint, it's first going to take you a lot more time. Secondly, there might be local law enforcement action. And third, we will follow up with a civil penalty action.
Get this, that fine is nearly $14,000. And in addition, you'll also lose your TSA pre-check. That's a huge price to pay for something that is completely avoidable. Reporting at Hartsfield-Jackson, I'm Trayson Bragg, CBS 46 News.
We have a crime alert in Douglasville. 3 people in custody, one still wanted in the death of a 15-year-old. Landon Smith was killed during a shooting during a New Year's Eve house party. Police say 2 of the 4 suspects will be charged with murder. One of them, 17-year-old Jabri Wilson, remains on the loose.
We did find out through investigation that 2 of these men were involved in gangs in Cobb County. You are harboring Jabri. We're going to come have a conversation with you.
If you see Wilson, call Douglasville Police.
New video tonight, a man accused of stealing a car with a toddler inside, found hiding in a dumpster. Atlanta police releasing new video showing the man under mounds of trash. Investigators believe the suspect tried to hide after hitting a stop sign with the stolen car. The child was in the car, was found seemingly unharmed.
New tonight, Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens giving us an update on his 15 days into his term.
He has already been busy dealing with the pandemic and this past weekend's winter storm. CBS 46's Haley Mason talked with the mayor about his priorities for the first 100 days. Haley.
Hi there, Rick. Mayor Dickens has been spending the last few weeks trying to establish relationships while also outlining some clear priorities on how he wants to combat crime and also keep Buckhead within the city of Atlanta and add affordable housing. Today, he sat down with a small group of reporters to share with us the work he's done so far.
It's exciting. This is the beginning of my 3rd week.
Today marks Andre Dickens' 15th day as mayor of Atlanta. He says his campaign focuses on crime, keeping Buckhead in the city, and addressing housing issues have been the center of his work.
The Buckhead conversation is a big one. None of the people that are producing this bill are from Buckhead.
Dickens says he's met with Governor Brian Kemp at his home, the Lieutenant Governor and House Speaker about Buckhead.
Just talking to them about what we're going to do as a city and why I think this Buckhead City bill is bad for the city, bad for the state, bad for APS, bad for bond ratings, bad for bonds in general, bad for schools. It's not a good idea.
He said he'll be back under the Gold Dome in a few weeks to follow up as lawmakers continue to vote. As for crime, he's been visiting each police precinct, working on morale and resources.
Well, we're going to hire 250 officers, but we know that that's not the complete solution. Making them feel safer is not just a police officer with a badge and a gun.
With affordable housing and homelessness, he's continued a series of meetings today.
I'm looking them in the eye saying that as it relates to housing affordability, this is a can't lose, must do goal. 20,000 units was not something that was just thrown out haphazardly. There's going to be some activity real soon with Bowen Home, with Civic Center site.
Dickens says he's also working to identify spaces in the Thomasville community. Walking out, Dickens explained if good things happen, he wants the good news shared, so the city knows he's working for progress across the board. And just this afternoon, the Atlanta City Council approved legislation to form a Buckhead Public Safety Task Force. That'll be an 18-person group that's going to be dedicated to enhancing safety across Buckhead. Mayor Dickens also adding, though, he's focusing on getting the homeless into shelters and relaxing some of the guidelines that they have to meet to get in, like maybe not needing an ID, not needing a PCR COVID test, but maybe a rapid test the city can provide. And also he wants to extend hours, especially in this cold snap, so that people can come in later at night. Reporting live outside of Atlanta City Hall, Haley Mason, CBS 46 News.
Thanks for watching CBS 46 News. Watch us live wherever you are, our mobile and our streaming news app. You can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.